A time where I overcame an obstacle through persistent effort was when I started a new job and I had to learn all of the new processes, and it was an environment I had never worked in before, in software I'd never used before. And so the first few days were really overwhelming. It was very hard to remember all the processes and remember what needed to take place in what order and what things to watch out for when I was putting the contracts into place. So that was something that I had to work really hard on. Just keep going, fumbling my way through, and knowing that any mistake I made, it wasn't a mistake that couldn't be undone. I think the way that this has changed me is just reminding myself that new things are hard and you're going to struggle. I think I tend to have a bit of a perfectionistic nature, and it's hard for me to not be good at things. But what I've learned is that I have to just know that I'm not going to be good at things at first, and just keep plugging away, keep trying, and eventually I'll get better. I think the biggest takeaway for me is just to be patient with myself and to be patient with the process, and know that I'm not going to be good at things immediately. And so I need to exercise patience with the process.
A time that I had to be persistent in my life was when I was in high school, and school never really came easy to me, and so you can't just give up on high school. And so I just had to keep working at it and working at it and working at it. And even though it was hard, like I had to go to tutoring, study, and get extra help from teachers. But when I was just persistent, I just had to keep pushing. It helped me change my mindset because I had to remember whenever I had a new test or project or something that I needed to be able to put in that more effort and start earlier than others, or start studying earlier than others, because I knew that I needed to put in that extra effort into my schoolwork, just because I knew that that was a challenge for me. The greatest takeaway from this is that it's just because it's hard at first doesn't mean that it's going to continue to be hard, and that if you keep putting in that effort, that the results will come out the way that you want it. And even if you do not have those results, that you can try again, and that just because it didn't work out the first time doesn't mean it's not going to work out every time.
This last summer, me and my quorum went on a 50-mile hike through the immigrant wilderness, which was a very tough feat. Throughout this journey, I had to be persistent, even though I had many tough obstacles. It was a hard journey, and even though I would get tired or homesick, I had to keep trying to be persistent and keep going and persistent on my journey. This experience has taught me a lot, such as when you're going on a tough journey, you need to prepare. When I left, I thought I was super prepared. I thought I'd thought of everything, which I had not. I didn't think about the right food, I didn't think about the right weight, and I didn't think about if I was mentally ready. I know now that if I'm going against a big obstacle, I need to be persistent in preparations and on the journey. And I need to keep myself persistent. My greatest takeaway from this life lesson is to be persistent in all forms. You need to be persistent in your preparations for journeys, and preparations, even if it's a non-physical or if it's a mental journey. You also need to be persistent in other forms of life, like physically preparing yourself and having the right tools. You need to be persistent in all measures of life.